word Paki was used constantly.
Calling me Paki.
In the Pakis, there's a way to deal with their problems.
A racist slur that insults and offends millions in the UK and around the world. The term Paki is increasingly being weaponized against Pakistanis and, more broadly, against people of South Asian descent in the UK. Once the go-to insult for Britain's far-right extremists and everyday racists, it has since been mainstreamed, used by politicians and even members of the royal family.
Hello, little Paki friend.
And YouTube stars.
I don't mean this maliciously, but the words.
The recent far-right riots targeting immigrants, mostly South Asians, that erupted across the UK are for many a desperate reminder of the country's colonial and racist past. There's a misconception that Paki is a short but racist word for Pakistani, but there's a deeper story behind it. In the late 1960s and 70s, the UK saw a wave of violent attacks against immigrants, particularly South Asians, by white supremacist groups known as skinheads. They called these brutal assaults Paki-bashing, though they targeted not just Pakistanis, but also Indians, Kashmiris, and Bangladeshis. The murder of Bangladeshi immigrant Altab Ali became a turning point, galvanizing Britain's South Asian community to form self-defense groups. The attacks ended eventually, but the slur remained. It continues to be used against people with South Asian backgrounds. Another form of racism, involving the lumping together and deliberate confusing of different nationalities. But the practice is also related to Britain's bloody colonial past and its reverberations.
Don't dig no Pakistanis taking all the people's jobs.
People with South Asian backgrounds formed the largest contingent of the British Army during the Second World War. The British had colonized and ruled South Asia for 200 years, and only left before the partition of India and Pakistan sparked a series of massacres and the mass migration of millions of people. Yet, despite the UK's reliance on South Asians during World War II and then afterwards, when they worked as laborers and helped rebuild the country after the war, xenophobia surged and was amplified by politicians like Enoch Powell with his infamous Rivers of Blood speech, which sparked violence in 1968.
This country, in 15 or 20 years' time, the black man will have the whip hand over the white man.
Today, minorities are an integral part of the UK's community, but according to a report quoted in Human Rights Watch, over 1/3 of people from minority groups in the UK have experienced racist assaults, and the recent far-right riots that rock the country indicate that racism, anti-Muslim sentiments, and xenophobia in the UK are far from over.